Welcome to the Rising from the Ashes podcast. I'm your host, Amy Grace. Obsessed with coffee, cowboy boots, and deep relationships, I'm on a mission to help you find the gold in your story through faith, family, and wellness. Because I believe your story can break you wide open to live a beautiful, abundant, and vibrant life. I'll share with you how the hard seasons and difficult circumstances can become a catalyst of growth that often lead into some of the most beautiful stories we've ever told. I'm so grateful you're here. Grab a cup of coffee and let's talk. Today's guest gives us a special interview by diving into her personal story on motherhood and faith. Anna is a coach's wife and mom of 3 beautiful littles. You definitely want to follow her over in the Instagram world, where she'll be sharing your next favorite Costco finds, outfit inspo, Amazon gadgets you didn't know you needed, and a dose of real life. Listen in. All right. You want to jump right in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So I got connected with you through Liz. Tell me the connection between you and Liz.
Okay, so Liz and I are sisters.
Okay. That's what I
Yes.
thought.
We're sisters. We work together a lot. We do a lot together. So
That's so cool.
yeah.
So cool. Okay, so I've been following you over in Instagram for a while now, I feel like. So I feel like I kind of know about you. We've never met in real life, but I recently found your blog, Grit to Grace. So I'm just interested, when did you start blogging?
So I started blogging in, I think it was 2019
Okay.
either 2019 or 2020 is when I launched it. And so I started with the blog. That was when blogging was really popular.
Uh-huh.
And then I also, had an Instagram account that I would kind of like post on both of them. Now I mostly just do Instagram. I don't really do much with the blog anymore. That's just where the tides have kind of shifted.
Yes.
But yeah, started back around 2019.
That is so neat. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, divide and conquer with the time.
Oh yes, you just got to keep up with it,
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. I was reading on your blog about your health journey with your daughter, Jaden, and your comment on there about it being both hard and beautiful. It just resonated so deeply with me, Anna. Just the things that we go through in life, like they're so hard in the moment, and then we look back on them and we're like, wow, there was so much good in that.
Yes.
Tell me about that journey. Like what did that look like? What did that feel like? Tell me all the things.
So yeah, absolutely. So our oldest daughter, Jaden, I had her when I was 23. And so the young first time mom, and she started having some health issues. And we were, trying to figure out what was going on. And she was just really sick, really frail. Eventually was diagnosed with failure to thrive. So that just means basically what it sounds like. She was not thriving. And as a mom, I felt like a failure as a mom. I'm like, this is not going how I thought it was supposed to go. Like, this is really hard. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And come to find out, she had Crohn's disease, and it presented very, very early. It's very rare for a baby to have Crohn's disease. That's almost unheard of. I remember like reading medical journals about it, and you're talking less than 1% of pediatric Crohn's, which is already rare. So it just kind of spiraled, and it turned into, trying to figure out how to get her back thriving and get her well. So we went down that journey, and it was just, I mean, it was very difficult. It was hard to um, find the right treatment because a lot of times with treatments, they're made for adults.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't even use them for children. So the treatments were extremely limited. And, talking like when you switch over to the faith aspect, I grew up in a Christian family. I grew up in church in a Christian school. Um, and my faith was authentic for sure, but that was the first time that I had ever walked through anything um, really hard. And I had to get really honest with God about, you know, what is this? What does this look like?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of started the journey down that.
Wow. That percentage is so small. That is insane. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it looks like y'all were in Boston at the time. Is that
So
right?
well, yeah. So we lived in Buffalo, New York for
Okay.
a year. My husband coached with the Buffalo Bills, and Liz, another cool connection. Liz, my sister, and her husband lived in Boston at the time. And
Okay.
they were actually, when everything, she was first hospitalized in Buffalo, and they were like, hey, Boston Children's is one of the best hospitals in the world. Like, why don't you guys come here, bring her to Boston, let them, check her out and see if we can figure it out. So I took her to Boston Children's, and I would stay with Liz and Patrick, and they had this little apartment that they were so kind to like let us bunk in, and then they dropped me off at the hospital with her. And yeah, Boston Children's absolutely saved her life because they are one of the
Wow.
few hospitals that have seen it and have been able to treat it. So they for sure got us back on the right track.
Wow. That is
Mm.
incredible. How all the little pieces come together.
It is. There's so
Wow.
many. There's so many.
Wow. So when did y'all move back to Athens?
So we moved to Athens. Well, okay. So we moved from Buffalo to Miami, Florida. We were there for 3 years, and then we moved back to Georgia in 2019. And
Okay.
we were in Beaufort, Georgia for a little bit, and then we like made our way back to Athens in 2020.
I
So
gotcha.
that's when
So
we ended
neat.
up back here.
So neat.
Yeah.
So take me through. I mean, I guess you were in the hospital initially. Was
Hmm.
there like a lot of back and forth? I know, like with coaching, they move around a lot. Seems like y'all did
Yeah.
that. Was that
Yeah.
a difficult process trying to like continue treatments, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so we would fly back to Boston for the most part. Even in
Gotcha.
Miami, I mean, there was a time where I was flying Jaden. We were going once a month to Boston Children because her health was so unstable that
Mm-hmm.
they had to see her, basically on a monthly basis. And then there were times where we were hospitalized for a week or 2 weeks, and yeah, I mean, I'd be in Boston with her, and my family would be on the other side of the country. So that was, I mean, yeah, that was difficult. And then when we moved back to Georgia, we were able to transfer her care to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
She was a little bit more, well, she was older and a little bit more stable. So we felt comfortable doing that, and they've been amazing. So now, thankfully, everything is here close by home.
That is so neat. So neat. So much on your plate as a mom, though, logistically,
Yes.
and as a wife, like
Yes.
showing up, dividing time.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was definitely took over our lives, but at the same time, our family and our community is just unbelievable and so solid. Both of our families were so willing to help with anything at the drop of a hat. I mean, I told you, Liz and Patrick obviously housed us, but we had family, you know, helping pay for flights to get us there, or, you know, we eventually had more children, so they were helping care for our other children. And I mean, I couldn't have done it without them.
That's so cool. Takes a village.
It does. It does.
So, Anna, you said on your blog, you said, we take it one day at a time, but I think that's the case for everyone. This journey has been both hard and beautiful, a painful lesson that I now cherish. It has stripped me of my preconceived notions of how I think things should be and strengthened my faith. Tell me how that journey deepened your faith.
I love this question. And I actually went back and looked through I journaled a lot during this time. And just reading, I was reading through my journal this morning, just crying over it. And then I had to go to my workout class. So it was just kind of, I looked really funny walking in there. But I would journal a lot. And so I think, like I said, I grew up in a Christian family, going to a Christian school, and I'm so thankful for the foundation that gave me. But what I think I did on accident was I almost bought into this transactional faith, meaning if I, do this, if I live my life according to God's word, like he's going to bless us, which is true. I mean, there's a reason why God gives us guidelines in the Bible, but I think I thought, okay, if I do A, B, and C, then God's going to do D, E, and F. Like everything's going to go smoothly. We're going to be good. Kind of like a prosperity gospel on accident, and that's how my life had basically gone. I mean, I didn't know any otherwise. So when this happened, it was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, we're going to actually strip all that away, and we're going to really see, how authentic is your faith? Like, even if it's not how I want it to turn out, God is still God. God is still faithful, So, I had to learn that and I had to walk through that. And it was really, really, really painful. And, but I'm so thankful for the lessons that I learned, because it just, it strengthened my faith. I mean, I think that I'm just so thankful for the life that I get to walk now, knowing that, just having that deeper faith, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does. I think it's so easy, like no matter what your situation is, it's so easy to kind of get into that like routine of faith of like, okay, I do these things. This is what's supposed to happen. And all is well. I'm going to go live my best life. And it really does like take these big moments, these big events to really like shake us to our core of like, do I really trust God even when it's not going according to what I thought it was supposed to look like? And I just think it's so neat to, when we can, on the other side of that, look back and say like, man, that made me like a better person. Like my faith is deeper. I trust God more. That's so neat.
Right. That's exactly right.
I'm curious to know if you would be willing to share, what did you learn about yourself like as a mother? I feel like that would be so tough to walk through as a mom, where like our instinct is to take care of our babies, to protect them, to see them thrive, to put them in these ideal situations. And like, this is something you have no control over, like zero control. What did you learn about yourself?
Yeah. So like I said earlier, initially I felt like a failure, right? Like everything I was doing, everything the doctor said, okay, do this, I would do it, and it didn't work. Nothing was working. And so I was like, and I'm by nature, give me something to do, I'll do it. I love, like, I'm such a rule follower. Like, give me these, I got it. And it wasn't working. And I was like, okay, well, I clearly am doing something wrong here. But then once I got past that and, I realized, okay, this is much deeper than that. I'm honestly thankful for the mother that it shaped me into because I got to see Jaden for Jaden, if that makes sense. Because you know what? There were times where she was extremely late walking, right? Like she was not the first in her friend group to walk. She was not I vividly remember, and this is not, I got to be careful how I say this because I'm not trying to say anything bad about, so basically there was a mom group that I was a part of, but Jaden was really sick. We were constantly dealing with like vomiting and she had a feeding tube. And so um I had the only time I could get out of the house was right in between the feeds. I have like 3 hours at a time.
Oh,
Well, I got invited to
wow.
this young moms group and I was like, okay, I really want to go because I want to, it's isolating when you have a sick child and I get invited to
Mm-hmm.
this mom's group. So I'm like, I'm going to make it happen. So, I'm sure that there was like, again, there was, a vomiting episode before we left and we're just kind of uh, disheveled a little bit getting there. And I get her and they had childcare, which was amazing. And I got her in there and I go and I sit down at the table and, um, one of the moms made the comment like about her daughter wouldn't wear a bow in her hair. And she was like, no bow, no go. I told her no bow, no go. And I just remember thinking like, that is not my life right now. Like I could not care less about a bow in her, but that would have been me. I think that would have been me. I say that because had we not walked through that, I'd be the same way. Like, you know what? You're not wearing a bow in your hair. We're not leaving this house. Like that is not, but so it just stripped all the stuff that like honestly doesn't really matter. I think
Yeah.
it just stripped me of that as a mother. And I'm like, okay, no, I love my daughter. She brings me so much joy. She's so happy. Um, and it also taught me, I got really confident. Like I had to fly across the country, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
just me. John was coaching. So I was on my own. So I had to book the flights. I had to get her, get to the car rental, get her to the hospital, have these meetings with these doctors. I'm doing this on my own. That's not my
Wow.
personality. I'm the youngest of four children. So I'm the baby of the family. I was used to like people helping me or people doing things for me. So I had to woman up and figure it out because my daughter needed me to be able to do this. So there are so many lessons that I'm so thankful for that it's given me freedom and confidence and um yeah.
That is incredible. That you handled all of that, Anna. Like you just did it. You did the thing.
Yeah. But you would too.
Yeah.
You would too.
It's like in
You
the
know? That's what I tell everyone. You
yeah,
would
it's like
too. You had
before,
to.
like if you think about it, you're like, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. And then like in the moment, you're like,
So
I have to do
overwhelming.
it. Like it is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
but I think it
It
really is
is
that
it is what it is.
that one day at a time. Like,
That's right.
and it does look hard and overwhelming if we try to like figure it all out and look days and weeks and months in advance.
Oh, it's too overwhelming. You just can't. Yeah, you can't. Just one step, one breath at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So I'm interested to know, do you feel like this journey has been a catalyst for creating something more in your life or maybe the life of your family?
Yes. Yes. Um, and I could go a lot of different directions with this. I think again, because it's kind of playing off of how it's made me more confident in the sense that so even here, like the Instagram and the blog and all of that, another reason that I started doing that was her medication was so expensive. Because again,
Mm,
a lot of times these medications are made for adults, they're not made for children. So even though they're safe, like children can use them, but then you deal with this whole insurance side of things, and
yeah.
insurance maybe won't cover it as much. So, I mean, you're forking out a lot of money for one dose of treatment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, we had a lot of family help who are always willing to step in. I mean, but I'm her mom. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, well, what if I start? sharing things on Instagram. I see these girls, they seem like they're able to, be moms because I needed to be home and take her to appointments and be, the active caregiver. But also they seem to be like making money. And so that's kind of what launched my Instagram influencer type stuff. And that's been really neat because, again, that's probably not my personality. If you get to know me in person, I'm initially kind of shy. And so putting myself out there on Instagram it's really cool. It's another God thing, I think, where it's like, no, A, this is actually kind of fun. And B, you're able to help provide for your daughter's needs.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's been really neat for our family. We've had some really cool experiences. We've got to do some fun things. And then as far as our family, because she was my first, it kind of trickled down to my other two. We've had two more kids since. And it's the same thing where I'm like, you know what? I'm really not going to worry about certain things because what matters? Really, what matters?
Yeah.
Are you like, do you have matching shirt and pants? Probably not, but that's what you want to wear today. We're just going to roll with it. We're going to go with it. It's not that big
I
of a
feel
deal.
you.
So, yeah.
That is so cool. So cool. I love how our first one is kind of like our guinea pig, but they
They
make
are.
it so much better. And we just like, it's like they grow up with us. And it's
They
such a
do.
special little bond of like,
It
I was a
is.
kid,
It
you
is.
were a
I'm like,
baby, we grew up together.
yeah. I'm like, I'm so sorry. There's some things that like I know I would have done differently, but oh,
Live and learn.
so fun. That's right.
So, Anna, as we kind of like wrap this up, tell me or tell our listeners, what would you tell the mom who is walking through a difficult season with a small child? Whether that is like a health related thing or just, we all have our own set of like difficult circumstances, our own
Yes,
version of hard. What would you tell the
that's
mom
right.
with a small child that's just in their version of hard?
I would say lean into it. Again, we know it's one step at a time, one breath at a time, one day at a time. And it makes me think of, okay, I have my journal here and I want to talk about this because this was one of the things that just made me cry and I might cry again. But this was something I wrote in February of 2016. So we're talking 8 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
8 years ago. And this is what I wrote. I said, I'm scared, Lord. I'm scared for Jaden and her health. The medicine doesn't seem to be helping as much as we'd hoped. I don't want her to go on these big, scary drugs. Lord, I want so badly for you to heal her. Honestly, I don't know what you want me to do. Do I stop asking for her complete healing? I honestly feel your spirit telling me to pray bold prayers and not give up hope. You already see the future, and maybe it's not as scary as it seems.
Mm.
And then my prayer request for those days, and this is what gets me like choked up. The first one, that her body will be completely healed of any illness and disease. I got to tell you, in February, so this is literally 8 years, probably to the day or the week, we got a test back. We still keep track of her Crohn's. It's not technically curable, but it
Mm-hmm.
can go in remission. And it was the lowest inflammation marker she's ever had in her life, meaning it
Oh
was
my
in
gosh.
completely normal range, no signs of any active disease, like completely normal. So that was the first
I
one.
have chills,
The second
Anna.
prayer request, the second prayer request I had was that any negative side effects from her medications wouldn't exist. We've never ever experienced that. And not only that, but as they study the medication more, it's not as scary as it was back then, right? Like they're like it does not affect people in that way. And then the third one was that she will gain healthy weight. She has gained healthy weight. She's gotten off of her feeding tube. That was another thing that we walked through. And she's completely normal for her age. And then the fourth thing was that she will walk. Back then, she was not walking. She didn't walk till she was almost 2. This week, I took her to a workout class where she was keeping up. She's the only girl in the class, keeping up with the boys, not just walking, but running and jumping. And so I saw all these prayers answered. But Amy Grace, this was 8 years ago. I didn't know how this was going to turn out, right? I didn't know. And all the signs did not point to what I'm looking at today. I mean, if I'm being honest, but it was that I feel your spirit telling me to pray bold prayers and don't give up hope. And so I was like, that's all I know to do. And I don't know where this is going to lead. I'm not saying I know the answer clearly. I don't know how to fix this, but 8 years later, I'm just like looking. I'm just so glad you asked me to be on this podcast, because I don't think I would have pulled this journal out otherwise. And I'm just like, wow, that is God. So that's what I would tell a mother, a father, if there's any men, just no matter what you're walking through, pray bold prayers. Don't give up hope. God is so kind. He is so faithful. He's going to meet you where you are, give you exactly what you need for that second.
So true. And I think it applies to anyone, as a parent, that is what you want for your kids.
Yeah.
That is what you want.
Yeah.
And I think you're so right. God is so kind and so faithful. And even when we doubt, even when we get angry in the moment,
yes,
he handles it.
I got a lot of those. I got a lot of those pages.
Same girl, different situation, but same.
Yeah.
And it's so neat how we can just let God have it all, and He never leaves us.
Yes.
He keeps showing up, that faithfulness.
That's right.
Just every day. And it's so neat to look back and see His kindness. Just He never gives up on us. And I think leaning in, praying big prayers,
That's
and
right.
never giving up on our kids, no matter what the situation is.
Yep.
I love that. Good place to wrap up, Anna. I love it.
Yes.
Tell our listeners where they can find you, learn more about you, and follow along.
Okay. I'm the most active, I would just say Instagram, honestly. Anna Richt, or it might be Anna.Richt, I think is my handle. And I have a lot of highlights saved. If you want to know more about Jaden's story with Crohn's disease and her whole feeding tube journey, I have everything saved to highlights there. But yeah, that's where I'm most active. So come say hi.
Awesome. And we'll be sure to put your handle in the show notes as well.
Perfect.
Thank you
so much.
Well,
thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Of course. Thank you.